أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
حقا لا إله إلا الله محمدا عبده ورسوله الله سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا عليك المصير بشرح لي صدري صلى الله عليه وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونستعينه ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي المقصرة أولا بتقوى الله فاتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ثم أما بعد. All praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious and the most merciful. The best of his peace and blessings shall be bestowed upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and upon those that follow his footsteps. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, in the previous khutbah, we spoke about Quranic guidance for modern challenges and how it is important for us in the midst of such challenges. It is important for us to go back to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to seek guidance and find solutions, because this is the only source of guidance and solutions, especially with the amount of fitna and turbulence that we're all experiencing in our modern time. And we spoke about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had informed us about a group of people that will appear to everyone as caring, as willing to help and guide. However, they are leading all of us astray. They're taking advantage of us. They say smart words, but they have evil actions. Their actions are not in line with their words. And these type of people, we see around us everywhere, whether we're at work, whether we're in our schools, whether it's a government, whether it's an organization. It's human nature. It exists within human nature, where a group of people will try to take advantage of others and control the masses. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about their characteristics, what they do, how they spread corruption, how they are willing to shed tears to tell you that, no, we're good, we mean well, we're working for your interest. يُعْجِبُكَ قَوْلُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. They look good. However, in reality, they're hurting everybody. And how they're spreading fasad. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَسَادِ. And how if you talk to them and you try to advise them, they will get arrogant. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ أَخَذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ فَحَسْبُهُ جَهَنَّمْ وَلَبِئْسَ الْمِهَادُ. They will not listen, they will not discuss, because they believe that they know what everybody else don't. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about a group of people, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. There's a group of people, there are some people that are willing to sell themselves, to sacrifice themselves for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will not fall into those traps. They will stand steadfast and strong on the principles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're not willing to give up their deen. They're willing to sacrifice themselves, and they are aware that they will be subjected to harm. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the rest of the ayah said, وَاللَّهُ رَؤُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَؤُوفٌ. So you are willing to sell yourself for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, knowing that Allah Ra'uf. Why Ra'uf? Why merciful? Because you're going to be subjected to harm. It might be physical, it might be verbal, you might get attacked. So if you're going to stand up in front of this wave, know that you will be subjected to harm. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا ادْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. After describing these type of people, He told us about shaitan. So the source of evil, shaitan, must have something to do with these people. There's a connection. They're executing someone's plan. They share the evil. And then Allah told us, gave us the solution, which we're going to get back to it at the end. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Do not follow the steps of shaitan. And we said it is important for us to know what are the steps of shaitan. What is it? How do we identify it around us so we can protect ourselves and our kids from such evil? And when we say evil, we say harm that could prevent us from progressing, from improving, from growing our businesses. A lot of harm that we're talking about. We're not just talking here spiritual harm. We're talking something that could really hinder the growth of your life and the development of your life. Something that could really harm your religion and your principles. لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. What are those خطوات? We also mentioned them in the previous khutbah in Surah An-Nisa, and we said that shaitan mentioned few things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us explicitly in the Holy Quran, and the four from the last khutbah was, starting with the first one, لَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ, that shaitan will spread confusion. So if you feel confused, or your kids are confused about their deen, about their dunya, about their bodies, about a lot of things, everything is confusing, know that this is deliberate, mentioned in the Quran. confusion will spread like wildfire. Nobody knows anything anymore. لَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that Shaitan said that I will drive them into al-amani. And al-amani here is basically when a whole generation that we see trying to build their life based on amani. I want to become this, I want to become that. Dreams, baseless dreams. طيب, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 5. No, I just want to become the big dream. And this is what we call as-safaha. This is what we call as-safaha. This is when we become mediocres. What is as-safaha? As-safaha is we're not weighing things properly. We're not using our brains. We're just using our emotions. I want to become, I want to do, I want to be a star, I want to be famous, and I'm willing to do anything, even if it's ridiculous, just to become famous. Because famous makes money. Ridiculous makes money. Mediocres, it makes money these days. So this state of safaha, believe it or not, Shaitan has promised to drive us into this safaha as per our holy Quran, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. And the third one was لَأَمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلْيُبَتِّكُنَّ آذَانَ الْأَنْعَامِ. He will be creating new religions. He will drive people into many new religions that we hear about. Even al-ilhad is religion. Atheist is a religion now. Atheism. All these new religions that are being, and maybe for us, our generation at work, stable, we're probably not exposed to many of it. But I'm talking about what our children are exposed to in their schools. The massive wave of confusion, ridiculousness, religions, all sorts of information, it's all here. Allah told us about وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلْيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. And the last one, clearly, I will order them to change the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Clearly mentioned. It doesn't get any more clear than this. So these are the 4 steps. And the last one, which seems to be the biggest one, تغيير خلق الله. Allah mentioned it. The last one in the khutuwat al-shaytan, the changing of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we are at. Which also could be a glad tiding that inshallah there is no more left. Inshallah. We cannot even take what's being thrown at us now. So inshallah this is the last one. Here I want to focus on the second one. لَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ السَّفَاهَ. Under the banner of السَّفَاهَ الْمَصَائِبِ. The mother of all disasters in our days is السَّفَاهَ. It's very dangerous because a lot of people don't realize how dangerous as-safaha is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Isra, when He ordered Iblis, again we take it from the mouth of Iblis as reported in the most authentic, the only authentic book on earth, the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ قَالَ أَأَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. In this famous story where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam and He made him a human being, He ordered the angels that will be serving Adam and his offsprings to make sujood out of respect, declaring that they will be serving him. Iblis was amongst them. And Iblis couldn't because he was arrogant. Me making sujood to this hollow creation. قال أسجد لمن خلقت طينا. You want me to make sujood to this creation made out of clay and hollow, this weak creation? His arrogance was always there. Allah tested him and it came out. Arrogance. Something that we see in our kids a lot these days. Very dangerous. Anything make them arrogant. Let's be careful from arrogance. Allahumma ajirna min al-kibr. Allahumma ameen. We'll get back to it inshallah in a different khutbah. Back to safaha. This safi said, are you ordering me to do something wrong? Wal-iyadhu billah. He's talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So safaha starts by you devaluing the orders of Allah. By devaluing the orders of Allah, you became a safi. How are you weighing it? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to you, whether directly or through His book or through Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Taking Allah's orders lightly, this is safaha. You're not thinking straight. He is rejecting the order of Allah, thinking that he knows better. This is how the safaha starts. And be careful when you're talking to your kids and they devalue as-salah, they devalue as-siyam, they undermine as-sadaqah. That's where it starts. قال أسجد لمن خلقت طينا قال أرأيتك هذا الذي كرمت علي لئن أخرتني إلى يوم القيامة لأحتنكن ذريته إلا قليلا. Okay. Because of Adam, my intentions were revealed. And now all of a sudden, from being Tawus al-Malaika, from having this great status, all of a sudden he's a sinner. And he was thrown out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now he wants to take revenge. From whom? Adam alayhi salam. Not just Adam. And his offsprings till the end of time, which includes us. He is so determined that I will take revenge from all of you. How? لَأَحْتَنِكَنَّ ذُرِّيَّتَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. I shall lead them like cattle. And I read a description in one of the books talking about Marx and communism. And they talk about something called the economic animal, describing humans. In the best communist scenario, we are economic animals. So we're animals, we're fed and work and produce. Feed us and produce. And I remembered لَأَحْتَنِكَنَّ ذُرِّيَّتَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. أحتنك من الذي يحتنك؟ أحتنكن ذريته means they're cattle, and I'm pulling them from their hanak like cattle. أكرمكم الله وأعزكم الله مثل البهائم. Just for you to produce, but you obey. And you find this description in certain literature, such as in communism, the economic animal, describing human beings. So this is what he wants us to be. Don't think, eat, fulfill our instincts and desires, and produce milk or do work. Cancel your brain. Sufaha. So he promised that he will turn them all into sufaha illa qalila, except for a few. This few or these few that will be aware of the plan. How are you going to be aware of the plan? It's in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we know. Now we're aware. We cannot fall into it. But the majority that don't read will fall into this trap. Okay, what else do you want to do? Ya Iblis, Ya La'in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, قال اذهب فمن تبعك منهم فإن جهنم جزاؤكم جزاء موفورا. Go, try your best. Those that will follow you will suffer their consequences. And it's going to be Jahannam. Now I told you, you're warned. So be careful. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the merciful, He told us exactly what He said. Exactly His words. He said, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, قال واستفزز من استطعت منهم بصوتك وأجلب عليهم بخيلك ورجلك وشاركهم في الأموال والأولاد وعدهم وما يعدهم الشيطان إلا غرورا إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان وكفى بربك وكيلا. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to do is استفزز من استطعت منهم بصوتك. And this is the topic of today. When I was reading in the tafsir, because we need to understand those classical Arabic words in our context, in our time and day. This is not a fairy tale. This is meant to be valid for all times and locations. What is istafziz? One of the explanations, استخفف واستجهل. استخفف واستجهل. Make them ignorant and make them sufaha. استخفف. Light-headed. Ignorant. They don't know how to make decisions. They're focused on the silly things, ridiculous lifestyle. This is exactly what's happening. Allah said, go ahead. Make them arrogant if you can't. But at the end he said, إِنَّ عِبَادِي لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ وَكَفَى بِرَبِّكَ وَكِيلًا. You're not going to be able to touch my ibad al-Rahman. الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. You're not going to be able to touch ibad al-Rahman. So this is the time to distinguish and differentiate between ibad al-Rahman wal-'iyadhu billah wa ibad al-shaytan. So here is safaha, is to make the generation incapable of making sound decisions, focused on futile things, ridiculous things, games, show-offs, likes, influencers. And it doesn't stop at just fun or comedy. We're discussing serious issues, discussing politics and religion. And Muhammad ﷺ told us in the hadith that there will be public figures that are sufaha. When he said, وَيَنْطِقُ الرُّوَيْبِضَ قِيلَ مَنِ الرُّوَيْبِضَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. He said at a certain time, a person called or described as a ruwaybida will speak publicly. We'll talk about the public affairs, public issues. Sahaba said, who's a ruwaybida? We don't know. It never existed at that time. They were serious people. They never had the ruwaybidat. Said, من الرويبضة؟ قيل الرجل التافه يتكلم في أمر العامة وقيل الرجل السفيه يتكلم في أمر العامة. The ridiculous will speak about public affairs and public and serious issues. They have no knowledge. All what they want is just to show off and to collect likes and this and that and followers, and they're talking about serious issues. Muhammad ﷺ told us that it will get to that level. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about safaha in the Holy Quran. Mentioned it in many ayat. Starting with in Surah Al-Baqarah. قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا كما آمن الناس. يا بشر يا ناس, go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Believe in Allah. أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء. The first thing that sufaha will do is will call al-mu'mineen sufaha. Their style is to ridicule the believers. أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء. What was the answer that came straight to them? ألا إنهم هم السفهاء ولكن لا يعلمون. They are the ridiculous ones, but they don't know. They're ignorant. Completes the meaning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also told us in the famous story where the qibla was changed. سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to change the qibla from Al-Aqsa to Mecca, the people of Al-Medina said, أفي كل يوم قبلة, as mentioned in the tafasir. Oh, they're changing their qibla. This is ridiculous. You have to have a strong religion and principle. How would you change your qibla? قل لله المشرق والمغرب. So this tells us in our day and time, a person that adheres to the principles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will follow the principles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be ridiculed. Oh, look at him, raj'i mutakhallif. Look at him. They're following a 14-year-old book. This is what they try to do. They try to belittle and ridicule your belief. It's okay, we know it. Allah told us. We're immune. It's not going to affect us. Because this is what happens all the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, وَمَنْ يَرْغَبُ عَنْ مِلَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَفِهَ نَفْسَهُ. Who's the real ridiculous? A human being is the one that will not follow Millat Ibrahim, Al-Hanifiyya, Al-Islam, Risalat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So here, my dear brothers and sisters, I would want to say that this safaha is not going to stop at public figures. It could also get to leaders. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in this amazing hadith, when he was speaking to Ka'b ibn Ujra, he said, أَعَاذَكَ اللَّهُ مِنْ إِمَارَةِ السُّفَهَاءِ. So safaha and sufaha, they're going to get to a level of leaders, rulers of countries, prime ministers. This is how dangerous the time that we live in. وَمَا إِمَارَةُ السُّفَهَاءِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. How could a safih be a leader? Again, those people never fathomed, how could a safih be a leader? He said, قَالَ أُمَرَاءٌ يَكُونُونَ بَعْدِي لَا يَهْتَدُونَ بِهَدْيِي وَلَا يَسْتَنُّونَ بِسُنَّتِي. Leaders that will come after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they're empty. They don't have any sort of guidance or following proper ethics and principles. Sufaha, they're ruling by hawa. So here, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to protect our children from as-safaha. I say, wallahu a'lam, safaha ummul masa'ib now. When we were faced with fitan like ilhad, drugs, relationships, even shudud, all these fitan, when we were faced with it, it was clear to us that it's wrong. People will have their guards up to protect our kids from many of those fitan. But safaha is worse than all of these. Why? Because it is the gateway to everything. And it's safaha we tend to give a blind eye to. We don't notice that it's dangerous. It's okay, let them play on their iPads for 8 hours. It's okay, let them go record a TikTok video and dance and do these moves. It's okay, it's innocent. It comes to us as an innocent move. Safaha in its appearance, it's innocent. Atfal, kids, they're just kids. Well, you are grooming them to become sufaha when they're focused on futile things, things that have no meaning. What are you doing to your kids under the banner of innocence? You're canceling their brains so they can be controlled by khutuwat shaitan. And when they have no brains, how can they evaluate good from bad, good from evil, right from... They can't evaluate. They're sufaha. This generation will lose their ability to make sound judgments. So we need to be very careful and know safaha is worse than anything else because it is the gateway to everything bad. We need to raise our children, males and females, men and women, to be serious about life. Because aks safaha al-jadd, seriousness, focus on real issues, do real things. It's okay to have a little fun, but fun should not be the banner of everything we do. If they're not serious, they cannot evaluate things seriously. And they will fall prey to everything around us, to shaitan that said, لَأَحْتَنِكَنَّ ذُرِّيَّتَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. He is watching and he is plotting and he is working day and night, him and his agents and whoever is benefiting from this master plan. It's real. We're not talking conspiracy theory here. This is around us. Let's be very careful. We will be asked, Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu, about our kids. And the final statement here, I say, going back to the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu dkhulu fi as-silmi kaffa وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. So how am I going to protect myself from following خطوات الشيطان? ادخلوا في السلم كافة. What is ادخلوا في السلم كافة? سلم الإسلام. As-silm is the total submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Enter into the state of Islam in every single detail in your life. كافة. There's no room to say, it's okay, Muslim, but Salah, يعني, I will tell them tomorrow. Hijab, she's still young. You don't want her to hate Islam. مش عارف ايش, it's okay. يعني, we don't want to put pressure on them يا أخي, because they're in public school. ادخلوا في السلم كافة. Hold on to the principles of Allah. It's uncompromised. You cannot compromise the principles. I've seen people that allowed their kids to do things in the name of, we don't want to put pressure on them, and they lost them within a couple of years. Because you push them into safaha, you push them into disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. Takabbur Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We implant it in our kids by not putting them on the right path. And if la qaddar Allah, something happened to them, you're the only one to blame. Don't treat them like criminals. Treat yourself like a criminal that did not put them on the right path and help them to become good Muslims. It is all in our hands. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us من السفاهة. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيفوز المستغفرين. استغفر الله استغفر الله رب اغفر لي وأهدي. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect our children from ignorance and from arrogance. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enlighten our hearts and our minds to listen to the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand it and to apply it in our life. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show us the right path and help us follow it. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from all the fitan, ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم احفظنا من كل الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم احفظنا من كل الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم احفظنا من كل الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم احفظنا بحفظك يا رب العالمين. احفظ علينا ديننا. اللهم احفظ أبنائنا من كل مكروه مسوء. اللهم اجعلهم هادين مهديين دعاة للخير يا رب العالمين. اللهم احفظهم يا الله واستخدمهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعلهم حماة لدينك رافعين لرايتك يا الله. اللهم اجعل القرآن ربيع قلوبهم. اللهم أعزهم بالقرآن. اللهم أعزهم بالإسلام وأعز الإسلام بهم إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم عافنا في ديننا. اللهم عافنا في دنيانا. اللهم استر عوراتنا وآمن روعاتنا واحفظنا من بين يدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمائلنا ومن فوقنا ونعوذ بعظمتك أن نغتال من تحتنا. اللهم اشف مرضانا وفك قيد أسرانا ورد غائبينا يا رب العالمين إنك على كل شيء قدير. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى صحبه أجمعين. وأنت يا أخي أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا واعتدلوا استووا. Close the gap, straighten your lines. Remember that you're standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Stand up with utmost respect and courtesy. صلوا صلاة مودع. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس قال أأسجد لمن خلقت طينا قال أرأيتك هذا الذي كرمت عليه لئن أخرتني إلى يوم القيامة لأحتنكن ذريته إلا قليلا قال اذهب فمن تبعك منهم فإن جهنم جزاؤكم جزاء موفورا واستفزز من استطعت منهم بصوتك وأجلب عليهم بخيلك ورجلك وشاركهم بالأموال والأولاد وعدهم وما يعدهم الشيطان إلا غرورا إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان وكفى بربك وكيلا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. وبركاته. السلام عليكم وعلى آله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, mashallah,